Welcome to the Deconstructionist Deep Dive.
The podcast that doesn't just accept the story.
We break it
We examine the pieces.
and expose the machinery inside. Let's dive in.
What if a philosophy that promises ultimate freedom is actually a cage with the door wide open? I mean, what if the command to follow your excitement is maybe the most sophisticated trap of all?
Those are exactly the unsettling questions we're plunging into today. We're doing a deconstruction deep dive into, well, a pretty popular spiritual or self-help framework. It's built on 27 distinct core ideas.
And our mission for you, listening in, is really clear.
Yeah, we want to arm you with the intellectual tools to critically evaluate systems like this one, to dissect their underlying mechanics.
And to pinpoint exactly where those, alluring paths might actually be leading you, sometimes without you even realizing it.
Because often the most attractive ideas hide the most subtle controls. It's insidious, really.
And our approach isn't just looking at each idea on its own, right? We're analyzing the very architecture of belief. How do these individual ideas actually fit together?
What are the unspoken assumptions they build upon?
And crucially, how do they subtly influence your perspective, your choices, and, well, ultimately, your sense of agency? We want to help you see the blueprint of thought these systems are constructed from.
And our compass for this particular deep dive is pretty potent. We're drawing directly from excerpts from Critique of 27 Core Ideas, sourced by the Deconstructionists.
Yeah, and the source isn't just some casual overview, it's systematic. A dissection, really.
It meticulously categorizes the framework's components, maps out their intricate connections,
And, most importantly, assesses their inherent vulnerabilities. It's basically a blueprint for understanding how these belief systems maintain their often unquestioned hold.
Okay, so let's grab our scalpels and get to work. We're starting right at the absolute bedrock, the foundational assumptions this entire system is built on.
The core axioms. These define everything, from our ultimate purpose to the very nature of free will.
All right, take core idea 27, for instance. You are spirit dreaming. You are physical. The purpose is to gain new experiential perspectives for all that is. Sounds incredibly grand, doesn't it?
It does, and that's part of its power, you see. The critique identifies this as the ultimate axiom.
Because
It's the unproven foundational starting point. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the ultimate assumption that, well, if you question it, the entire structure can basically collapse.
Huh.
It dictates your perceived purpose, your very identity, before you even begin to engage with the world. It's like being told the rules of a game you didn't even know you were playing.
And that you definitely didn't agree to.
Exactly.
Okay, so if that's our origin story, this spirit dreaming thing,
Yeah.
how does it define our choices? Core idea 12 tackles free will, it says. Free will is the choice of perspective within a pre-existing structure of reality, the hallway. So you're free to pick your perspective, free to, I don't know, decorate your little corner of the hallway.
But you didn't choose the hallway. You can't leave the hallway.
Right. You can't even choose the building it's in.
Precisely. And the critique labels this the core deception. Here's why. It's a form of what philosophers call compatibilism.
Okay.
That's the idea that free will can somehow exist, even if our actions are, in some sense, predetermined. So in this framework, yeah, you have choice within a predetermined structure, the hallway.
But you didn't design it. You can't leave it. You can't change its fundamental layout.
It's like being told you're free to choose any flavor of ice cream as long as it's vanilla. The really insidious insight here is that this isn't genuine freedom, is it?
No, it's managed choice.
Exactly. Managed choice within a predetermined cage. It tricks you into thinking you have agency while subtly ensuring you never question the cage itself. Very clever.
So if we're essentially spirits dreaming in this predetermined hallway, always just choosing our perspective within someone else's design, what does that actually mean for our sense of agency day to day?
Well, it dramatically narrows the scope of what freedom truly means, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It shifts it from genuine self-determination to merely choosing your attitude about conditions you probably can't change. It's a very clever sleight of hand, really, to manage expectations and control outcomes.
Building on these axioms, the framework then seems to shift into how it affects our perception of the world itself, which leads us right into what the critique calls the solipsistic trap. Core idea 13 states. Physical reality is an illusionary structure projected within consciousness.
Okay, this one raises a profoundly important question, doesn't it? If our physical reality is just an illusion, just a projection within our consciousness,
Then what are the implications for how we engage with suffering, injustice, even just simple everyday interactions?
right, The critique highlights this as the solipsistic trap, because if nothing is truly real outside of your own mind, it fundamentally diminishes the importance of, well, objective truth, of external reality, even the value of collective action.
Think about it. If all the world's problems are just a reflection for your spiritual growth.
Is someone else's suffering actually real to you? Or is it just another prop in your personal movie?
Oof. This perspective can quickly diminish empathy, right?
Mhm.
And make collective action against real-world injustices seem kind of pointless. Because,
Yeah.
hey, it's all just an illusion, isn't it?
It grounds everything in your subjective experience, makes it harder to question any external narrative, including the one being sold to you by this very framework.
Exactly.
So, for you listening, consider how that might subtly shift your motivation, or even your ethical considerations in the world. If it's all just a projection, why bother trying to change anything tangible?
It's a powerful way to detach. Maybe too powerful.
Okay, so once those fundamental axioms are established, you're a dreaming spirit, reality is an illusion, free will is just perspective, the framework then builds in these mechanisms. Mechanisms that place accountability squarely on the individual for any perceived failure.
Ah, yes, the self-blame engine.
Pretty much. This brings us to core idea 8, which talks about the threshold of believability. It apparently dictates the speed of your manifestations based on subconscious beliefs. Right, and the core insight here is that this makes the framework totally unfalsifiable. The critique points out it creates a perfect self-insulating logic loop.
How so?
Well, if something you desire doesn't manifest, the blame is placed solely on your unclear or insufficient subconscious beliefs. It's never the system's fault.
It's an infallible excuse. If it didn't work, you just didn't believe hard enough.
Right.
Or your threshold wasn't met.
Exactly. It traps you in a cycle of endless self-correction. It doesn't actually empower you. It creates dependency on the system to tell you how to fix yourself.
And then core idea 22 doubles down on this. It says, your core vibration already attracts what you need. The work is to remove impediments to it. It sounds so empowering, doesn't it? Suggests you have all the power within.
It does on the surface. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is the law of attraction paradox in full calculated effect.
Meaning?
Meaning, if you're not getting what you want, it's not because the system might be flawed or, reality is complex. No, it's your fault. You're not vibrating correctly or you're harboring impediments.
So both of these ideas, they're tools for inducing self-blame.
Incredibly powerful tools, yes. They ensure adherents stay compliant within the system's logic. You're always striving to fix yourself rather than ever questioning the validity or efficacy of the system itself. It's, frankly, a genius design for continuous internal struggle.
I wonder, have you, listening, ever found yourself blaming yourself when things didn't go as planned? Maybe thinking it was your vibe or your belief when perhaps, just perhaps, the system itself had a flaw.
It's a common trap.
Now let's shift gears slightly. How does this framework lead to overlooking real-world issues, this idea of spiritual bypassing? Core idea 3 suggests, by pausing and applying a new definition to circumstances, you can change your experience of them.
Now look, there's power in reframing things, obviously, but the critique warns that this concept, while sounding positive, can deeply disempower people from addressing actual problems. It potentially dismisses material conditions, systemic issues. The very idea that circumstances do not matter can be a profoundly privileged, even dangerous assertion, especially for those facing real hardship, systemic oppression, or injustice.
It encourages detachment from the tangible world,
Right.
even when action is desperately needed.
Right. And then you have core idea 10. Validating and enjoying the present moment accelerates your life. Again, on its face, it sounds totally benign, positive, even mindfulness, right?
Yeah.
But the critique identifies this as a potential tool for spiritual bypassing. While presence is important, an overemphasis on validating the present can become an excuse. An excuse to avoid confronting uncomfortable truths, valid pain, trauma.
Or the very real need for concrete action to change difficult situations.
Exactly. It can lead to this kind of enforced positivity that just ignores genuine suffering, whether it's your own suffering or someone else's.
So what are the real-world implications here? When people adopt these ideas and maybe sidestep genuine struggles or even the urgent need for action just by reframing their experience.
Yeah. Well, it risks cultivating a really dangerous and passive acceptance of things that absolutely do matter and do need to change. It's inaction disguised as enlightenment.
Okay, let's turn now to one of the most sensitive and, frankly, quite distorting areas. How this framework can influence our interpersonal relationships and, crucially, accountability.
This is where it gets particularly thorny.
Yeah. This next idea has some truly profound and potentially harmful implications. What does the critique uncover about core idea 17, the one that states, challenging relationships are orchestrated mirrors for mutual growth?
This raises an extremely important question about personal responsibility and how easily a growth narrative can be twisted to justify, well, actual harm.
Explain that.
The critique exposes a really severe vulnerability here. This idea can be used to blame the victim, for example, suggesting, you attracted this abuser to learn a lesson.
Wow.
And even more chillingly, it can be used to absolve perpetrators of accountability, implying that they are just playing a role for you. It takes complex, often painful, human dynamics.
Like abuse.
Exactly, like abuse or manipulation or betrayal, and transmutes them into a spiritual teaching tool. It effectively, systematically erases accountability for harmful behavior.
Reframing abuse as just a spiritual lesson for the victim's growth.
It's a shocking abdication of ethical responsibility, presented as profound insight. Really disturbing when you break it down.
So what we're really seeing is a framework that, maybe by design, can shift the blame from the perpetrator of harm directly onto the victim's spiritual journey, letting harmful behavior completely off the hook.
That's the danger, yes. A profound ethical dilemma embedded right into the system's core logic.
Okay, finally, let's dissect how this system strategically discredits external knowledge, expertise, other practices, while simultaneously elevating its own internal logic to this unassailable position.
Right, sealing itself off.
Take core idea 6. All tools, rituals, and techniques are merely permission slips.
Ah, the permission slip idea. The critique identifies this as a classic bafflement tactic.
Bafflement tactic.
Yeah. While it's sort of true that belief enables action, this idea is strategically used to demote and invalidate all other systems. Therapies, spiritual paths, scientific knowledge, you name it.
It effectively says, don't bother with anything else. It's just a permission slip.
And our concepts are the real permission slip, the only true path. It's a clever way to dismiss any external validity and funnel adherents directly into this framework, keeping them reliant.
And then core idea 7 states, your imagination is the direct conduit from your higher self to your physical mind. Which sounds incredibly empowering, right? Just trust your intuition, your inner voice.
It certainly sounds appealing. Who doesn't want a direct line to their higher self? But the critique highlights its vulnerability. It equates subjective imagination with unchallengeable divine instruction.
Meaning your personal feelings become the ultimate authority.
Pretty much, without any need for external validation, critical inquiry, or even basic reality checks. So, taken together, these two ideas, permission slips and imagination as conduit, work in concert.
To invalidate any external framework, any critical thinking.
Precisely. They make subjective experience the ultimate, unquestionable truth. Conveniently guided, of course, by the system's own interpretations. It becomes an echo chamber where only its voice truly matters.
So how might these tactics subtly guide you into a very specific way of thinking, making you less likely to question the framework itself or even your own internal biases?
It creates a powerful, self-reinforcing feedback loop, and those can be incredibly difficult to see when you're inside them, let alone escape.
Now, we've focused heavily on the vulnerabilities here, the critiques, but it's important to acknowledge that not all ideas within a framework like this are inherently negative or designed to mislead.
That's true. Some can feel quite comforting.
Yeah, some of them almost feel good, don't they? Ideas like core idea 23 about inherent worthiness, or core idea 24 about death just being a transition, even core idea 2 about latent senses. These offer a genuine sense of comfort, hope, maybe even expansion.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating here, what the critique really underscores, is that these are often strategically placed emotional levers.
Emotional levers.
Yeah. While these concepts do offer genuine comfort and can feel incredibly uplifting, they're intricately interwoven with and often made dependent on the higher level, foundational, and frankly more problematic structures we've been discussing.
So they're like the sugarcoating.
That's a good way to put it. The critique suggests they act like a sugarcoating to make the more problematic, control-oriented, self-blaming aspects of the framework more palatable. They create a powerful emotional attachment to the system.
Which makes it harder to challenge the foundational deception.
Much harder. Because if you question those, you risk losing the comfort these seemingly benign ideas provide. They're not standalone comforts, you see. Their validity within the system is tied to the very elements we've just deconstructed.
So essentially, the comfort isn't truly free.
Yeah.
It comes with a hidden cost, a cost of compliance.
That seems to be the argument. And if
Yeah.
you stop complying or start questioning, that comfort might just evaporate. It's a clever way to keep people invested, wouldn't you say?
Incredibly clever.
Yeah.
And maybe a bit chilling.
And that's our deep dive for this week.
Remember, the most dangerous illusion is the one you don't know you're in.
But now you know. So here's our question for you. Where in your own life have you blamed yourself for a vibration not being high enough, or maybe for a threshold of believability not being met, instead of questioning the system that sold you that idea in the first place?
Let us know in the comments. Question the narrative. Deconstruct the dogma. See the system.
We'll see you next time. Stay skeptical. Thank you for joining us.